Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Anti-Bullying 101. This podcast is designed to create awareness about the bullying epidemic and provide teachers, administrators, parents, and even students information about the dangers of bullying and why we have to take a comprehensive approach when dealing with the problem. My name is Jim Burns. I'm your host. I'm a retired high school administrator with over 40 years of experience in education. Currently, I'm a college instructor, and I've designed the Bully Proof Classroom, a graduate course that provides my students with permanent help, not temporary relief, as they battle the bullying epidemic. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Anti-Bullying 101. My name is Jim Burns, and we're here to discuss a variety of topics. Bullying's the big one, but right now many people are experiencing a host of other problems. Domestic violence, workplace bullying, cyberbullying, and community and family bullying. You know, often when I speak with people, I discover that they seem to be having trouble with the people that are closest to them in their life, like their parents or their siblings. People become angry and bitter and don't realize that there is a choice that can be made, and it's just as easy to develop love, joy, and peace and patience as it is to be angry, bitter, and vengeful. This podcast is designed for anyone who wants to have a fuller, more vibrant life, and we offer some ideas on how to balance the physical, the mental, the emotional, and sometimes the spiritual areas of their life. But we are Anti-Bullying 101, so it's truly my hope that we can help everyone live a life without the fear of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And yes, we do talk about a variety of topics. We talk about teachers, we talk about society, we talk about information that's in the news, and there's a lot of stuff out there today that is important. And often, well, I won't say often, but at times we do have guests come on that are they're above and beyond. They've done stuff above and beyond what anyone else could do. And today I have with me Mike Kuczala. And Mike is a speaker. He delivers keynotes and presentations, and he's facilitated professional development and taught graduate courses on 4 continents. And he's written several books. 4 of them, we have the Kinesthetic Classroom. One that I didn't even know about, Mike, which was Ready, Set, Go, which I'd like to see. Then you have a Training in Motion. And there's one that we're going to be talking about today, which is the Peak Performing Teacher. He's the co-author and, the bestseller of an Association of Educational Publishers Distinguished Achievement Award nominated. And that was for the Kinesthetic Classroom, I believe. Correct, Mike?
That is correct.
And he's been all over the place. He's been Asia, he's been in Australia, and he's going to share a few other places. But the beauty of this interview for me, and the joy of it for me, is I work with Mike. And he has been a real resource for me. He's helped me. He's brought me along sometimes in some areas where I may have needed some help as a college instructor. And he works with the Regional Training Center, and he leads a cadre of about 100 graduate instructors, and who regularly provide graduate work to thousands of teachers across Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New Jersey, of which I happen to be one. He works in partnership with the College of New Jersey and LaSalle University. And during his tenure, he's overseen the development of the regional training centers, and this is so important. Online, but moreover, the virtual course offering program. When we went into this pandemic, we really needed help in terms of what we were going to do, and Mike took care of that virtual piece. and it was almost seamless. And we continued with our instruction. It was absolutely so well done. He oversees the implementation of new coursework, certificate programs, master's programs, and he manages the partnership between the training center and the universities. And I am so thrilled to have you here, Mike. You don't know this new book. It's exciting. It's something that I think all teachers should read. And I'm just going to say up front that I think teachers, and this is something that I've discovered, spend so much time taking care of somebody else's kids, they don't take care of themselves. It's a serious problem. I mean, and teachers today they're kind of burning out. I don't know how many teachers are willing to enter the field anymore. They're tired from all the work that they have to put in. They go home. They don't have time for their family, their loved ones. They're answering emails. They're grading papers. They have all kinds of things to do. And your goal with this book is to help them become peak performing. So how did this book come about? And what became your reason for wanting to write this book?
Well, Jim, first of all, thank you for having me. It is just a pleasure to continue to work with you. Moving on 2 decades, and the Regional Training Center has been an important part of both of our lives. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
So this book has been in the works actually since before I even started with Regional Training Center, late 90s, I would say. I wrote to Tony Robbins, always been a huge Tony Robbins fan, and a lot of other kind of motivational professionals and coaches, and said, hey, what about the peak performing teacher? What are you doing for teachers? Because, I was really into his stuff, consuming as much as I could. I read his books. I'd taken in his cassettes, and then CDs, and then digital. And I spent a week with him in Business Mastery in Las Vegas in 2014. And his people were very nice to me. They wrote back and they said, hey, good luck with this endeavor. Pretty much you help the teachers. And they sent all of his books to the school library where I was working. So I kind of pushed that off to the side. And the kinesthetic classroom came into my life eventually, designing graduate courses, writing books, and then, doing professional development keynotes, etc. And it's so much fun. And it led to a book that you mentioned after the kinesthetic classroom, Ready, Set, Go, the kinesthetic classroom 2.0, and also a book for corporate trainers, Teaching in Motion. So, that all was going along well. The pandemic came along and changed how I operated. So I was still doing a little bit of live work, but mostly it had gone virtual. And I got to a point in the pandemic where I said, you know what? And so this was completely kind of selfish, but I needed a project. I needed something new. I needed something different. And I pulled that back out. It's like, Mike, why don't you finally write what you're, another part of your passion that's been sitting there for a long time. I come from a family of teachers, wife, sister, both parents, 3 grandparents, an aunt, a cousin. It's just what we do in my family. I have used my own life as an experiment. I have done so much reading and consuming of information and testing things out. And where I'm at now in my life, I want to be able to make life better for others. That's kind of my mission, especially younger teachers, to avoid some of the issues that happen. And so the timing with the pandemic was not purposeful, that this has been the 2 hardest school years ever in the history of the world. But it turns out it's a good thing. And so I needed something for me. I needed a project. I needed to create this book. And it was just a joy to pull together resources from the graduate courses and from earlier writings I had done, and some new writings, and getting other people involved in the project. And it just came to fruition, and it's partnered with live trainings. And so it's just really been selfish for me, but I think also it's going to be a good thing to really give back to the field that has given so much to me.
I have a question I've been wanting to ask you, and it may be off topic a tiny bit. How did you start working for the training center?
Yeah, so, in Pennsylvania, teachers need to take graduate courses. They need to get what's called a level 2 certification. It's 24 credits past your undergrad within 5 years, or you lose your certificate. So I started taking RTC graduate courses, found their brochure in my box one day. And I took one of them because I liked the way they were offered in an executive format. And I was just blown away. I think my first instructor ever may have been Millie Scanlon, Jim, long time ago. And then I took some more. The way they did things, like, SEL is kind of a thing now. It's in the literature. There's lots of books written, lots of PD given. Well, RTC has been doing SEL forever, purposely in their courses. The courses were different. They were hands-on. They were collaborative. They really had the advantage of offering things in a really socially, emotionally friendly way. And I liked it. It just, really jived with me. Mm-hmm. And so I eventually, after 4 or 5 courses, I might give this a try. And the instructors encouraged me, and I taught my first course in 2001, and just I became a brain junkie. Went through the training for brain-based teaching and learning course, loved it, changed my life, changed my world. That's what really led into finding Eric Jensen's work and getting into the movement piece and Gene Blades, and it just changed me forever. 2003, I went to work with RTC full time, and I've been there ever since.
Mm-hmm. And you were, and you got to correct me if I'm wrong, I think, were you a music teacher?
I was, band director. I taught K through 12, 4 through 12, actually. I never taught K through 3. Music, general music, band, choral. I've kind of done it all. And it was a great career. That's another story, Jim, for another podcast. I mean, I never played a note of music until I was almost 20 years old. Wow. And I just kind of fell into it. So it was a great career, and I still refer to it, love it, but just moving on to RTC at some point.
Right. The peak performing teacher, I know there's 5 areas. Can you give us an overview of those 5 areas?
Sure. And chapter 1 is living the physical life, because that is what my life became about, the kinesthetic classroom. And there's so much more to the brain-body connection and being physical every day, because your brain demands the physicality. It's, the body supports the brain. The brain is the primary beneficiary of the benefits of aerobic activity. Mm-hmm. Our physiology can change our psychology, how you use your body, using your physical life to create success in other areas of your life. So it's just not about fitness and exercise. It's bigger than that. And I wanted to write about that first because it's so important to me. The second habit is about how to manage your stress, but I call it changing your mind, because there's a different way to do that. So it's changing your perspective. What is Shakespeare's quote? I'm going to get this wrong, but something about nothing is good or bad. It is thinking that makes it so. So one person's stress is another person's joy. So it's about reframing things and creating perspective in your life. And on the other hand, doing proactive things like practicing mindfulness, like practicing meditation, practicing specific breathing techniques that really can enhance your stress management, either in the moment or for longer term purposes. Mm-hmm. And then 3 is sharpen your mental game. And that is about creating personal mission, which can align your value system and have something to lean on when you're making decisions. To see whether you're getting closer to your goals or further away. Is this something I really want to take on? This is my mission. How do I make this decision around moving forward? And goal setting, how to do goals specifically, how to write them so they're more helpful. Finding your why, finding your person to help you, and moving forward with goal setting and personal mission. And then we move on to gratefulness, practicing gratitude, which I feel like that is my superpower. I have this ability because I know it works. It changes the research tells us it does. You can change your life and change your mindset in a minute from being grateful, practicing gratitude. And it's in the book, in the chapter, I sought out someone who I knew created a life improvement business. It was a car dealership. And he sold cars as a life improvement business, and it's not a gimmick. I know this guy very well, and his whole practice is around gratitude. Every day, everyone, including the people, the guys that worked on the cars in the shop, they would stop what they're doing, get in the gratitude circle, and it's incredible. I've had many conversations with him, and his story in that chapter is incredible. And then I take that and equate that to the classroom and to teachers' own lives. And then finally, the morning routine. What are you doing to be the cliche, win the day? win the morning, win the day. What are you doing when you get out of bed or when you're still in bed before you ever start your day? And I sought out real teachers, so it's not a pipe dream. I don't put their stories out there to say, oh, this is impossible. It's about what is possible. And I reached out to about 10 teachers because I saw what they were doing professionally. And I thought to myself, I didn't know this about them. I thought they must have a morning routine to be that successful at what they're doing. They're officials in their state organizations. They run podcasts. They're authors, but they're all practicing classroom teachers. And I was right on almost every account except one. One guy said, hey, Mike, I have small kids. You don't want to know my morning routine. But the rest of them came back with these. I was like, wow, I was blown away by their morning routines. And so those are the 5 habits in combination in the peak performing teacher.
I like the morning routine. I really do. It's something. Well, I have a young daughter, right, 12 years old. So there's kind of a morning routine that I have around her, but I've often found it because I had put together some information about consistency, and I found it interesting that one of the things that has helped me over the years was just to do 5 to 10 minutes of exercise as soon as you get out of bed.
Yeah,
a few squats, maybe just a little something for 5 or 10 minutes, and it seems to absolutely help. It puts in motion that physical piece that you talk about, where your body is in motion all day. So I think those are 5 absolutely great habits. And I know we've had the pandemic. And of course, we're having other things right now that are just causing tremendous amount of stress.
yes.
I mean, people just have to look at their bank account to see that their stock market's falling every day. They're worried about world issues. They're worried about maybe hanging on to their job. They're worried about cuts. They're worrying about whether or not this is actually the profession that I want to be in. I'm in this profession. I don't even know if I want to stay here or not. So why do you think this topic is so important right now, and it's so necessary right now?
It just gives people some stability to lean on. When we can get into certain routines, create certain habits, when times are tough. I'm not saying this book is going to take away your tough times. That's not it at all, but it's a certain way to approach life so that you can survive those tough times in a more productive way. When I can lean on my physical life, when I can lean on, how I manage stress and how I create perspective, and lean on my personal mission, lean on my morning routine, have that ability to mine for gratitude throughout the day. Those things set me up for a better mindset. They set me up to live a more productive life so I can be taking care of myself, putting myself at the top of my to-do list, which I wish every teacher would do because they're better for themselves and for their students. That's the point of the book. How do I show up each day in spite of all that's going on in the world and going on in education? And that is about being mindful too. What's right in front of me? What am I paying attention to here versus everything that's running around in my head? When you focus on the moment and focus on what's right in front of you, really hard to be stressed about those things because your focus is here. So there's just little things like that. Now, I want to say this too. I didn't invent anything in this book. It's just told through my filters and my perspective and my past and my realities. And hopefully it's helpful to teachers. This book is a reminder. We all know, these different things are important, but it's a reminder, and there's a few ideas about how to move forward. So in this very stressful time, and I have felt it too, big time, it's impacted RTC, the world events impacts everyone personally. It makes you feel a certain way. How do we gain perspective and move forward with that? And this provides this framework to lean on in times of trouble.
Yeah. It's kind of like you have a place to go.
Yeah.
This is where I got to go. I mean, you've got everything here. You're going to veer to the right and to the left occasionally, but you know where the center is.
Yes.
That's really interesting. And you made the comment. You didn't invent anything.
No.
I can remember. It seemed like 100 years ago now. It's probably more like 35 or something like that. I got completely immersed in Stephen Covey's material, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People,
Yeah.
and I'm
Big
reading
impact
it.
on me.
Oh, he's everybody. I'm sure he had an impact
Yeah.
on everybody. And I said, boy, this guy's a genius. I'm looking at his stuff. If you want to know where Stephen Covey came from, just read Napoleon Hill. He read Napoleon Hill and he discovered the principle. And I read Napoleon Hill's principles, and it says they seem to line up with what Covey was talking about. So
Yes.
the stuff is there for us. We just have to have the wherewithal to go look for it and say, I want to change. I think if you want to change, you'll find what you need to make those changes. And in your case, I hope people find this book. My name is Jim Burns. We're talking with Mike Kuczala. He is a professional developer, teacher, instructor. He's my boss, really. He's a great guy. I love working with him. And he's written a great book called The Peak Performing Teacher. And you can go to thepeakperformingteacher.com and take a look at some of that information, or you can go to mikekuczala.com and take a look at what Mike has to offer. We're going to have all of this in the episode description too, Mike, the websites and everything. And if there's anything else you want to share at the end or you want to send me, I'll make sure it gets in there so people can have the ability to get to it. Now, how does this stuff play out in your life? What do you do? Like, what would your day look like? Mike Kuczala, He gets up, and how do you put this in motion?
So I'm in a different position in life. My kids are grown and gone. And I got to a point too, Jim, just to backtrack a little bit, and I'll answer your question. There was a point in my life where, and it's all perspective. Since I turned 50, I've had like 3 or 4 surgeries. I've buried both parents. I had to put my dog down. I've had COVID. I had a bad bike wreck where I had to be carried to a car and taken to an emergency room, a mountain bike. Mm-hmm. But I love my life, but I've had some challenges. And it's like, Mike, what are you going to do here? How are you going to face this and move forward? And it's these types of things that give me that foundation that I can move forward. And so what do I do? I mean, I'm physical every day. I'm still, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 50, and I still am in the gym, 2, maybe 3 days a week on a mountain bike or an indoor bike in the winter. Definitely 3 or 4 days a week. I walk with my wife. We play a ton of pickleball. I just make sure that for my brain, I do not look at exercise for weight loss. A lot of people do. It's not that efficient as a weight loss tool unless you're doing tremendous amounts. So I do it for my brain. That's my perspective. I know what being physical does for my cognitive abilities, especially as I age. So every day I'm on that. In the morning, I have a very specific that thing that I do. I meditate every morning. Sometimes I meditate a second time. It's worth it for me to get up a little bit earlier to do that. It transforms your brain. It actually physically changes some of the structures in your brain with gray and white matter. And it's a game changer. Meditation is a game changer. It changes your perspective on things. So as soon as I'm done with that, I do a very specific visualization based around both how I want my life to look, kind of a goal setting thing, and what I'm grateful for at the same time, seeing myself in it. And being so grateful for that, grateful for all the things that I have. So by the time I'm done with that, I'm like excited to start my day. Mm-hmm. I lean on my personal mission. I wrote it years ago. It's about wellness, and it's about helping other people to experience that wellness. I don't set goals as much for kind of day-to-day things, but if I have a big event coming up, I will sit down, I'll go through my goal, my time frame, my support person, my why, my action plan, am I meeting these goals? And, what's pushing me away? What's pushing me towards my goal? If it's not working, what's plan B? If it's not working, what's plan C? If it's not working, what's plan D? It'll never fail you. You might get to T, but you'll get there. And then the stress management piece, just constantly trying to gain a good perspective on things. Mm-hmm. I meditate, I practice mindfulness as best I can. And then gratitude just comes naturally to me. I know that when I get angry or upset or scared, because most stress has a fear beneath it, a fear below it. Mm-hmm. We just have to be able to recognize what that fear is. I can go straight for the heart of it. What am I grateful for around this situation? Mm-hmm. Eric, one of the things Eric Savage, that's his name, talks about in the gratitude chapter is that before, if anyone ever had a grievance or they were upset about something, came to his office, before they did anything, and you think about this as a school teacher or a school administrator, think about two things. Tell me two things you're grateful for. It changes your state. It changes your mindset. And now you can have a productive conversation about how to move forward. It just makes you feel better instantly to think about something that you love and something that you're grateful for in your life. So I try to practice that as an ongoing basis. Mm-hmm. So I have this, all of them play out in my life, mostly every day. It's just become the foundation that I can move forward with.
Mm-hmm. And I like your thought, and I believe I got something similar from Mark Sisson. I may have sent you his information. Mark's Daily Apple.
Yes.
Triathlete, but he's my age now, and he's discovering longevity on just the things you got to do to stay alive for a long time. Yeah. And the one thing he said was exercise is not the best way to lose weight.
Yeah. No.
It's more, diet is and healthy living and those things will help you lose weight. Good sleep helps you lose weight more than just, running 5. You could run 5 miles, not be able to run for 3 days after that. Yeah, you don't know. Right. I know I wouldn't. I could walk 5 and probably be okay, but I'd need a day or two off, that's for sure. So, we have listeners. We do. We have a lot of them. So, what suggestions do you have for some of these people, some of our listeners, to put these habits into motion for them?
Yeah, take a step back. What area of your life? I'm a guy that jumps right in. I want to improve every part. It's just who I am. I've always been kind of built that way, but just start simply. If you can do one thing, if you can use some breathing techniques, if you're in a stressful situation, or, if you can just if you can find what really gives you joy, wake up 15 minutes earlier and experience that as a part of your morning routine. Why not? It makes you feel good for your day. And just make sure that you're physical every day. If you're spending a good amount of screen time or television time, can you give some of that up and make your stress relief being physical, mm-hmm. or doing a 10-minute meditation, mm-hmm. or practicing gratitude, writing in a journal? The research shows that once a week is even very productive for practicing gratitude if you write in a journal. So it's just picking out those things that you really feel like you can do, because I don't want this to add to the overwhelm. I think I can sense that we're coming out of the overwhelm, but it's been we thought last year was bad and this could only get better this year. And it got worse for teachers. So I don't want to add to the overwhelm, but what is that one thing? Because when you get in front of it, when you get in front of life, the other things on the back end go easier. Mm-hmm. So what is that? Those 1 or 2 things that, really talk to you, speak to you, appeal to you, mm-hmm. and just implement them. It's like building muscle. You have to do a little bit each day and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Then you can add something else, mm-hmm. and a little bit each day and you get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you can add something else, mm-hmm. until it just becomes habit. Mm-hmm. And that is what we're after.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wow. That's some really good stuff, Mike. And I'm not blowing smoke here because you and I are friends. That's really good stuff. It really is. It's very impressive. It's something that I hope everyone can take and use and implement and work on in their life. You're very knowledgeable in the area of self-help. You like self-help, and I think you work to try and improve yourself, and you learn these skills, and you're helping others, and it's a wonderful thing. It truly is. My name is Jim Burns. You've been listening to Anti-Bullying 101. We're speaking with Mike Kuczala. Mike's has a new book. It's called The Peak Performing Teacher. And you got to take a look at this at thepeakperformingteacher.com. And once again, I'll have all of this in the episode description. And go to MikeKuczala.com to check him out there and all of the things that he has to offer. Mike, is there anything else you want to share? Any information you want to put out there so people can find you and maybe use you for professional development or something like that?
Yeah, I will say this first. One of the things I write in the book that is the best tool that you have in your self-care journey is a mirror. Mm-hmm. In it, you'll find your best advocate for achievement, for wellness, for self-care. Mm-hmm. There's just no one else available to you. You have to make this decision to move forward, even if it's in very small steps, to support your own life. We take, like you said it earlier, Jim, we take care of everything else in our lives and put ourselves last. Our jobs, our homes, our kids, the students that we teach. Just running your own life is like having a small business, and we put ourselves at the bottom. Well, that's not good, because all of this is going to be much more difficult. So move yourself to the top of your list. And if you're interested in more information, you can go to thepeakperformingteacher.com. You can go to MikeKuczala.com to check out my work in kinesthetic classrooms using physical activity in the teaching and learning process, which is a part of the physical life. And be in touch. You can contact me through the website. I'd love to hear from you. And Jim, again, I just really appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, Mike, it's been my pleasure. And I love doing it. I love talking to guys, like you, who are examples. And they are success stories. They really are. And for you to step out and want to teach this type of information to others is very impressive. And I admire you. I admire the work you do. And I'm grateful that I can call you a friend and a colleague. Okay, Mike, you've been listening to Anti-Bullying 101. We just got through interviewing Mike Kuczala. Mike, you're going to stay with me for a minute after the interview. And I hope that you spend some time with Mike's website and with the book, peakperformingteacher.com. Take a look at the information. You'll love it. I'll have everything up in the episode description for you. Once again, this is Jim Burns. Thank you for listening to Anti-Bullying 101.